Darth, Theorist, rise.
What if Anakin exposed Mace Windu's attachment to the Republic? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. The Jedi Council chamber sits in heavy silence as holographic reports flicker across the central display. 3 years of relentless warfare have transformed the circular room from a place of contemplative wisdom into a military command center. Strategic charts over ancient meditation alcoves, while communication arrays buzz with constant updates from battlefronts across the galaxy. Mace Windu stands before the main tactical display, his dark robes bearing the subtle creases of sleepless nights spent coordinating Republic defenses. His weathered face reflects the blue glow of star charts showing the latest territorial losses. 17 systems in the past month alone, their populations now under Separatist control. Behind him, Master Yoda observes quietly from his meditation chair, his ancient eyes tracking not the military data, but the subtle changes in his colleague. Yoda had sensed flickers of strain within Mace for some time. The discipline's constant channeling of intensity created shifting emotional patterns that masked deeper attachments behind disciplined focus. Nothing Yoda felt rose to the level of dark intent, only turbulence Mace seemed to manage through duty and resolve. Obi-Wan Kenobi enters through the chamber's main doors.
Master Windu, the Twilight Council has voted to withdraw from the Republic. They cite our inability to protect loyal words as justification for their neutrality declaration.
How many does that make now, this month?
17 systems have declared neutrality. 5 have joined the Separatists outright. The Senate is beginning to panic about our ability to maintain territorial integrity.
Mace's jaw tightens as he studies the star charts. Each lost system represents billions of beings abandoning the institutions that maintained order for 1,000 generations.
The Kaminoan conspiracy, General Krell's betrayal, the false accusations against Ahsoka. Every month brings new evidence that our enemies work from within. When the very system we serve is under constant internal assault, neutrality becomes impossible.
Concerned about military strategy, you are. But beyond strategy, something else, I sense. Attachment, perhaps, to outcomes rather than duty.
I am concerned about justice, Master Yoda. The Republic represents order, law, protection for billions of beings. When it fails, chaos follows.
The ancient master's ears droop slightly, but he says nothing more. Out of respect for Windu's mastery and the demands of wartime leadership, Yoda chooses to watch and wait, trusting the Force to reveal the truth in its own time. 2 weeks later, in the Chancellor's private office, Palpatine reviews intelligence reports with practical concern. The elegant chamber's warm lighting contrasts sharply with the harsh tactical displays that have become standard fixtures in the government buildings throughout Coruscant.
Master Windu, thank you for coming. I wanted to discuss the situation on Alderaan personally.
The insurgency there has destabilized the entire sector. 3 neighboring systems are considering Separatist alignment because they fear we cannot protect them.
Master Windu, in these dark times, your commitment to justice, the Republic's stability gives me hope. I see how deeply you understand what we're truly fighting for.
The Republic represents more than government, Chancellor. It's the foundation of civilized society.
Exactly. Without stable institutions, without leaders like you who understand that some principles must be defended absolutely, civilization itself crumbles into barbarism.
The conversation continues with Palpatine carefully weaving themes of Republic importance, civilization duty, and the moral imperative of institutional preservation. Each word plants seeds in fertile ground. Mace's growing frustration with betrayals and failures that threaten everything he's dedicated his life into protecting.
The galaxy is fortunate to have Jedi who understand that sometimes defending peace requires defending the very structures that make peace possible.
Mace leaves the meeting with the Chancellor's words echoing in his mind, aligning with his own growing conviction that the Republic's survival represents more than political preference. It represents moral necessity. 3 weeks after that first meeting, during his evening meditation, Mace employs his Vapad technique to center himself through controlled connection to darker emotions. The form requires channeling frustration, anger, and determination through disciplined combat patterns. But the technique also masks his growing emotional attachment from Force-sensitive observers, creating psychological static that obscures his true mental state.
The Republic isn't just another government. It's the guarantee that law exists, that justice has meaning, that beings can live free from tyranny. Protecting it isn't politics, It's protecting civilization itself.
The conviction feels righteous, pure, like duty crystallized into purpose. But beneath the surface, something shifts. A warmth when he thinks of Republic institutions, a protectiveness that extends beyond professional obligation, an attachment forming in the shadows of disciplined focus. The Chancellor's private office glows with soft afternoon light as Mace Windu arrives for his weekly briefing on Jedi military operations. Intelligence reports spread across Palpatine's desk, detailing the latest Separatist advances, each document marking another step toward potential Republic collapse. Outside the main office doors, in the antechamber, Anakin Skywalker waits with routine diplomatic reports. The Chancellor's outer guards have been temporarily reassigned to investigate a false alarm elsewhere in the corridor, a rare security lapse that leaves the antechamber momentarily unmonitored. Anakin had been granted entry minutes earlier to deliver updated mission reports, so his presence raises no suspicion. As he organizes his datapads, Anakin hears voices rising from the Chancellor's office. The usual thick security doors stand slightly ajar. Another protocol breach in a building grown complacent with constant Jedi traffic. Palpatine's voice carries through warm and encouraging. Then Mace's response, carrying an intensity that makes Anakin pause.
Chancellor, the Republic's survival justifies extraordinary measures. The Jedi must adapt to preserve civilization itself.
Anakin's head snaps toward the door. That doesn't sound like the measured Master Windu he knows. He steps closer, sensing through the Force the roiling emotions in the office beyond.
Your understanding of what truly is at stake gives me hope, Master Windu. Too few realize that some principles must be defended absolutely.
Traditional diplomatic approaches have failed repeatedly. Our enemies exploit our restraint as weakness. If the Republic fails, everything we've built, law, justice, protection for the innocent, disappears with it.
Anakin's eyes widen. The words carry weight beyond military strategy. He hears passion, conviction, emotional investment. The same qualities Mace had criticized him countless times for.
The Senate sometimes lacks vision for difficult necessities, but with Jedi support for expanded security measures, we can ensure institutional stability. I'm drafting legislation now that would strengthen executive coordination during wartime. Your endorsement would prove invaluable.
The Republic's preservation is paramount, Chancellor. Whatever measures ensure its survival have my support.
Anakin's hand tightens on his datapad. His mind races through years of lectures about emotional control, warnings about personal attachment, criticisms of his own loyalties. The conversation continues after several more minutes, but Anakin has heard enough. As Mace's meeting concludes, he retreats from the antechamber, his thoughts churning with implications. Anakin walks quickly through the Senate building's ornate corridors, barely seeing the elaborate architecture around him. His mind replays Mace's words, analyzing the emotion behind them. The Republic's survival justifies extraordinary measures. Whatever ensures its survival has my support. The passion in Mace's voice when he spoke of civilizational collapse. The certainty that some principles must be defended absolutely.
That's not duty. That's not serving the Force. That's love. Attachment. The same thing he's condemned me for these years.
He stops in an empty corridor, his hand pressed against the cool wall. Part of him wants to dismiss it. Mace Windu is the exemplar of Jedi discipline. Decades of service proving his commitment to the Order. But another part, the part that has spent years being lectured about emotional control, recognizes the truth with crystal clarity. The Council is meeting in 30 minutes. Standard weekly briefing for military operations across the Outer Rim. Mace will be there, so will Obi-Wan, Yoda, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon, and others. Anakin debates his options. Confront Mace privately first. Tell Obi-Wan and let him handle it. Wait and gather more evidence. No, this is bigger than personal conflict between him and Mace. If the Chancellor is manipulating a council meeting through emotional attachment, using the same vulnerabilities Mace has spent years condemning in others, the council needs to know immediately. This is a security issue. Decision crystallizes into action. Anakin turns toward the Jedi Temple, his stride lengthening with purpose. The council chamber's circular space holds 9 Jedi Masters arranged in their traditional positions. Afternoon light streams through the tall transparent steel windows, casting long shadows across the meditation alcoves. The holographic display at the chamber's center projects territorial maps showing the latest battle lines. Mace stands before the display, reviewing strategic positions with Obi-Wan and Ki-Adi-Mundi. Yoda observes from his meditation chair, while Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, Shak Ti, CC-Teen, and Ajen Kalar occupy their respective seats. The decision proceeds normally. Troop deployments, supply chain logistics, diplomatic initiatives in contested sectors. the routine of military coordination that has defined their lives for 3 years of continuous warfare. The chamber doors burst open. Anakin Skywalker enters at a pace between controlled urgency and barely contained agitation. His robes are slightly disheveled from rapid movement, his expression carrying an intensity that immediately draws every eye in the room.
Masters, I apologize for the interruption, but I must report something urgent about the Chancellor and Mace Windu.
The room goes silent. Mace turns from the display, his expression shifting from surprise to guarded concern.
Skywalker, this is a scheduled briefing. Whatever you need to discuss can wait. No, Master Windu, it cannot.
He moves to the center of the chamber, positioning himself where everyone can see him clearly. His hands are steady, his voice controlled despite the emotions roiling beneath.
Speak, young Skywalker should. If urgent this matter is, hear it we must.
Anakin takes a breath, then meets Mace's eyes directly.
An hour ago, I was in the Senate building delivering diplomatic reports. Due to a security lapse, I overheard Master Windu's conversation with Chancellor Palpatine.
Mace's posture stiffens. Several council members exchange glances.
Master Windu told the Chancellor that the Republic's survival justifies extraordinary measures, that the Jedi must adapt to preserve civilization itself, that traditional diplomatic approaches have failed, and our enemies exploit our restraint as weakness. Mace, those statements are taken out of context. We were discussing military strategy during wartime. You told him that if the Republic falls, everything we've built, law, justice, protection for the innocent, disappears. You said the Republic's preservation is paramount, and that whatever measures ensure its survival have your support.
The words hang in the chamber's recycled air. Ki-Adi-Mundi shifts uncomfortably in his seat. Plo Koon's breathing apparatus emits a contemplative hiss.
Mace, those are concerning words for a Jedi to speak.
They're realistic words. The Republic faces its existential threats. 17 systems have abandoned us in the past month. 5 have joined the Separatists outright. Without institutional stability, billions of beings will fall into chaos and tyranny. Listen to how you're speaking, Master Windu. Listen to the passion in your voice, the emotion. I'm speaking with clarity about political reality. You're speaking about the Republic the same way I spoke about my mother.
The compassion lands like a physical blow. Several council members react visibly. Mace's expression darkens with anger.
How dare you compare military strategy to personal attachment? Your inability to let go of emotional bonds nearly compromised your training. My inability? You stood in this chamber and told me that caring about my mother's safety was dangerous attachment. You said emotional investment clouds judgment and leads to the dark side.
He moves closer, forcing Mace to hold his ground.
Do you remember what you said to me? Attachment is the path to the dark side, Skywalker. Your mother is one person. The Jedi serve billions. Those were your exact words. Because it was true. Personal attachments create conflicting obligations that compromise a Jedi's ability to serve. Then what do you call your relationship with the Republic?
The question reverberates through the chamber. Mace opens his mouth to respond, but hesitates. The answer that should come easily, duty, service, responsibility, feels suddenly inadequate.
Mace, Anakin raises a valid concern. The language you used with the Chancellor does suggest emotional investment beyond professional obligation.
I'm committed to preserving the institutions that maintain galactic order. That's not attachment. That's understanding political necessity. And when the Council suspected my feelings for Padme, you were the first to question my loyalty. You said personal relationships create divided loyalties, that a Jedi cannot serve two masters.
Anakin makes a philosophical point. If caring for an individual being constitutes dangerous attachment, does caring for a political institution not carry the same risk?
The Republic isn't a person. It's the fundamental structure of civilized society. It's something you love, something you're afraid of losing, something you defend with extraordinary measures beyond traditional Jedi wisdom.
The chamber falls silent. Yoda's ancient eyes move from Anakin to Mace, tracking the emotional currents flowing between them.
Master Windu, the Chancellor's office has been pushing increasingly aggressive legislation, security measures that expand executive authority. Have you supported any of these initiatives?
I've advised the Chancellor that Republic stability must be maintained. Yes.
Even measures that consecrate power, that reduce legislative oversight.
During wartime, decisive leadership prevents collapse. The Senate's endless debates allow our enemies to advance while we argue procedure. That's not a traditional Jedi position. It's the same position of someone who's afraid, someone whose judgment is clouded by what they might lose. You, of all people, question my judgment? You, who I've had to counsel repeatedly about emotional control, whose grief over your mother's death led to actions you still refuse to fully discuss, who struggles constantly with anger and aggression.
Anakin's jaw tightens, but he doesn't retreat from the verbal assault.
Yes, You've lectured me about attachment for years, about how my grief compromised my judgment, about how emotional investment clouds a Jedi's ability to serve the Force. You were right to warn me.
He steps forward, his voice dropping to something more personal, more painful.
But I've never claimed my attachments were justified. I never stood before the Council and argued that my feelings were somehow different, somehow noble, somehow acceptable because they served a greater purpose.
The words land like physical blows. Mace's hands clench at his sides, his breath coming faster.
You taught me that attachment clouds judgment regardless of how righteous it feels. That caring for someone, even something good, becomes dangerous when grasped too tightly. When we make decisions based off fear of loss rather than service to the Force.
He pauses, his next words carrying the weight of years of suppressed resentment.
I've been learning that lesson painfully, every day. But you've been teaching it while refusing to apply it to yourself. You've been doing exactly what you condemned in me, just with a political institution instead of a person.
Mace turns away, unable to meet Anakin's gaze. Behind his eyes, something shifts. Recognition fighting against denial. Pride warring with the terrible clarity of truth.
Mace, I've noticed changes in your council over recent months. More emphasis on Republic stability over traditional diplomatic solutions. More support for aggressive military action. At the time, I attributed to wartime necessity. But Anakin's observation, it deserves serious consideration.
I've noticed similar patterns. Your arguments in council increasingly prioritize traditional preservation over other concerns. Because territory represents population under our protection. When systems fall to Separatists, beings lose freedom, justice, security. Listen to yourself. The passion, the certainty, the fear of loss. That's exactly how I sounded when you lectured me about my mother. When you warned me that fear of losing her would lead to darkness.
The parallel strikes home. Mace's face shows the moment of recognition. The realization that Anakin is exactly right.
Suspected this, I have. Difficult to see, Vapad makes. Channels darker emotions, your technique does. Makes attachment beneath disciplined focus.
All eyes turn to the ancient master.
Watching I have been, waiting for the Force to reveal truth. Today, revealed it is.
Mace stands motionless, his mind racing through weeks of decisions, conversations, recommendations. Palpatine's words echo in his memory, each phrase suddenly appearing in new light. Your commitment to justice through Republic stability. Some principles must be defended absolutely. The galaxy is fortunate to have a Jedi who understands.
He knew. The Chancellor knew what I was feeling. He cultivated it. That's why this is a security issue, not just philosophy. If Palpatine recognized your attachment and deliberately reinforced it, he's manipulating a council member, using our vulnerabilities against us.
The implications spread through the chamber like ripples in water. Each council member contemplates their own recent interactions with the Chancellor, searching for similar patterns.
He's been meeting with us individually, tailored conversations about our specific concerns.
He emphasized clone trooper welfare in my briefings, spoke of maintaining military morale through his decisive leadership.
Protecting Force-sensitive children was my focus. He connected Republic victory to their safety.
The pattern becomes undeniable. Palpatine has been playing all of them, finding each master's vulnerability and shaping it toward his political ends. Mace sinks into the nearest chair, overwhelmed. The weight of recognition crushes down on him. Not just that Anakin is right, but that a youngling he dismissed as emotionally unstable has proven more clear-sighted than a council master with decades of experience.
You're right, Skywalker. All of it. I've been attached to the Republic, not serving it. Loving it. Afraid of losing it. Making decisions based on fear rather than the Force's guidance. I know what it feels like, Master Windu, to care so much about something that you do anything to preserve it, to justify compromises because the alternative is unthinkable. The difference is, when you saw it in me, you called it what it was. You tried to warn me. You were right to. The code warns against attachment for good reason. I needed you to see it apply to everyone, even you.
Silence fills the chamber. The afternoon light has shifted, casting longer shadows across the floor. The holographic display continues to project star charts that suddenly seem less important than the human vulnerabilities in those charts can measure.
Difficult lesson this is. Difficult for all, but necessary.
What do we do now?
Now I meditate, without Vapad's influence, without the static that's been clouding my judgment, and I examine every decision I've made over the past months to understand how deep this compromise goes.
He turns to Anakin, his expression carrying something unexpected. Respect, humility, even gratitude.
Thank you, Skywalker, for having the courage to bring this to the Council. For being honest when it would have been easier to let me continue blind. You taught me the value of truth over comfort, Master Windu. I'm just applying those lessons.
Mace exits the chamber, his posture bowed under the weight of self-recognition. The remaining council members watch him go, then turn their attention to the larger implications.
If the Chancellor has been systematically manipulating us, we need to review every recommendation we've made, every policy we've supported.
Carefully. Without evidence of specific wrongdoing, we risk appearing paranoid or obstructionist.
Cautious we must be, but vigilant. Changed our council should become more balanced, more neutral.
We should document our interactions with the Chancellor, look for patterns of manipulation across multiple masters.
The council begins organizing their response, not dramatic action, but careful examination and gradual course correction. The work of recognizing their own virtues have been turned against them. That evening, in his private chambers, Mace sits in deep meditation using traditional Jedi techniques rather than his customary vapad form. Without the emotional static of controlled darkness, his mind achieves a clarity that has been absent for months. Through the Force, he extends his awareness inward, examining the landscape of his own heart. Duty appears first, as expected. Commitment to justice, to protecting the innocent, to maintaining order in a chaotic galaxy. But beneath those righteous motivations, something else reveals itself. A warmth when he thinks of Republic institutions, a protectiveness that extends beyond professional obligation, genuine affection for the ideas and structures he has spent decades serving. Love, attachment, the very thing he has spent his career warning others against.
Anakin was right. The boy I dismissed as emotionally unstable saw what I couldn't. Every decision colored by the love for the Republic rather than service to the Force. Every choice made to preserve what I valued rather than what was right.
The realization doesn't come with self-loathing or despair, but with the clinical clarity of a Jedi examining truth. He has been compromised, manipulated through his own virtues, led astray by genuine care that became unhealthy attachment. The question is not whether he was wrong, but what he does with that recognition.
The Force guides those who serve it without condition. I've been serving my own fear instead. Time to return to proper discipline.
Over the following days, the Jedi Council conducts a quiet but thorough review of their recent interactions with Chancellor Palpatine. Working in pairs, masters analyze meeting transcripts, compare strategic recommendations, and map the subtle patterns of psychological manipulation. The evidence reveals a sophisticated operation. Palpatine has held individual meetings with each council member, tailoring conversations to their specific areas of concern. He reinforced existing beliefs, validated genuine worries, and shaped each Jedi's council toward increasingly centralized authority. In the council chamber, they compile their findings.
I've been analyzing our recommendations to the Chancellor over the past 6 months. Every suggestion we've made has been implemented in ways that expand executive authority. The surveillance measures we supported for Republic security have been used to monitor political dissidents, not enemy infiltrators.
The pattern suggests coordination. Our council has been anticipated, shaped towards predetermined ends.
Sophisticated this manipulation has been. Used our own virtues against us, someone has.
The council faces an uncomfortable dilemma. Palpatine has broken no laws. He has simply been an extraordinarily skilled politician who understands his advisors' psychological vulnerabilities and exploited them through conversations and persuasion. Proving manipulation in the absence of coercion or explicit wrongdoing becomes nearly impossible.
We can change our behavior going forward, but we cannot publicly accuse the Chancellor of manipulation without evidence beyond our own psychological states.
Even bringing it to the Senate would appear as Jedi attempting to undermine civilian leadership during wartime. Then we adjust without announcement. We provide more cautious counsel. We return to traditional Jedi neutrality. We watch, document, and wait for evidence that transcends subjective interpretation.
The decision reflects hard-won wisdom. Sometimes the soft victory, internal change without external confrontation, proves stronger than dramatic action without proof. In the weeks that follow, the Jedi Council's relationship with Chancellor Palpatine grows more formal, more careful. Military recommendations emphasize protection of civilian populations over territorial gains. Diplomatic initiatives receive equal consideration alongside security concerns. Political involvement decreases, replaced by increased direct service to those affected by war. The temple reopens more fully to the public. Jedi presence becomes more visible in relief efforts, medical services, and community support, reminding both themselves and the galaxy that they serve beings, not governments. Mace, having confronted his own attachment, becomes an advocate for careful examination of emotional motivations in council deliberations.
We must question whether our recommendations serve the Force's will or our own preferences. The distinction matters more than we realized.
The experience strengthens rather than divides the council. Recognizing their shared vulnerability to manipulation through their own virtues creates collective wisdom rather than individual shame. The Jedi's withdrawal from active political involvement does not go unnoticed. Within weeks, whispers spread through the Senate building about changed Jedi behavior. Some senators interpret the shift as abandonment, while others recognize it as a return to proper neutrality. Senator Bail Organa notices the pattern first.
The Jedi seem less willing to support aggressive military action. Their council has become more balanced, more focused on humanitarian concerns than political objectives.
I've noticed the same shift, and their recommendations no longer align automatically with the Chancellor's preferences.
Something's changed. The question is, what and why?
Their investigation leads them to receive recent legislation supported by Jedi Council. Pattern analysis reveals surprising correlations. Every Jedi-endorsed policy expanded Chancellor Palpatine's authority in subtle but cumulative ways.
This can't be coincidence. Either the Jedi were deliberately supporting centralization, or they were being manipulated toward it.
Given their recent behavior change, I suspect the latter, which means we need to investigate the Chancellor's methods.
They approach the Senate Committee on Oversight with their findings. The committee, already concerned about growing executive power, votes to expand its inquiry into emergency fund allocations and executive coordination with military advisors. Several senators leak summaries of recent Jedi strategic briefings to trusted media outlets. Though the document reveals no classified operations, they highlight shifts in Jedi tone, particularly stronger previous support for emergency centralization measures compared to current, more cautious recommendations. HoloNet commentators seize the story, launching analysis that shapes public perception. Major polling firms release snapshots showing rising anxiety about the relationship between Jedi Guardians and government authority. The reaction, though based on partial information, creates political pressure neither the Chancellor nor Jedi can ignore. Back in the Jedi Temple, the Council monitors these developments with mixed feelings. Their private concerns about manipulation have found public voice through Senate investigation, but in ways that risk exposing them to accusations of political maneuvering.
The Senate investigation might force exactly the evidence we couldn't obtain through our own channels.
Or it might push the Chancellor toward desperate action if he feels cornered.
Vigilant we must remain. Dangerous, cornered beings become.
During the following week, Bail Organa contacts the Council directly, requesting a secure meeting. He arrives at the temple with Mon Mothma and detailed financial records.
Our investigation has uncovered something disturbing. Emergency fund allocations show patterns of coordination that suggest deliberate planning rather than wartime necessity.
Communication logs between the Chancellor's office and various Senate committees reveal language almost identical to phrases used in Jedi briefings, sometimes before those briefings occurred.
The implications are clear. Palpatine's manipulation extended beyond psychological influence into systematic coordination of government policy toward predetermined ends.
This suggests conspiracy rather than opportunistic politics. The Senate committee has voted to demand access to the Chancellor's private communications and finances. The warrant will be served tomorrow morning.
The chamber falls silent as everyone processes the implications. Demanding such records from a sitting Chancellor during wartime represents an unprecedented action and potential constitutional crisis.
If Palpatine has engaged in genuine conspiracy, this investigation is necessary. But if he's simply being an effective politician exploiting our psychological blind spots, we risk destabilizing the government during existential war.
The evidence suggests something beyond skilled politics. The level of coordination implies planning.
Concerned I am. Concerned the Chancellor will be. What then?
Then we find out what he's truly capable of, and whether our concerns about manipulation scratch the surface or something far darker.
As the meeting disperses, tension fills the air. Everyone understands that the morning will be either justice or chaos, and that the Jedi may find themselves at the center of a crisis that determines the Republic's future. The next morning, the Chancellor's office bustles with unprecedented activity. Senate investigators arrive with official warrants, accompanied by a security detail and recording equipment. Senator Bail Organa leads the committee, his diplomatic bearing unable to mask the gravity of their mission. Palpatine sits behind his desk, hands folded, expression calm despite the constitutional crisis unfolding around him. His office, unusually warm and welcoming, feels suddenly oppressive.
Chancellor Palpatine, By authority of the Galactic Senate, we request immediate access to your communications and financial records regarding emergency fund allocations.
Palpatine studies the warrant with practiced political consideration, but his eyes carry something beyond mere annoyance, a cold calculation that seems to emanate from something deeper than political power.
Senator Organa, these accusations suggest fundamental misunderstandings of wartime governance. Perhaps we should discuss this privately.
The committee requires immediate compliance, Chancellor. The evidence of systematic coordination cannot be ignored.
As investigators move toward the office's security terminals, Palpatine's demeanor shifts subtly. The grandfatherly concern vanishes, replaced by cold authority that makes the air itself feel heavier.
I'm afraid compliance will not be possible.
The room's temperature seems to drop. Investigators pause, sensing danger beyond their understanding. Bale steps back involuntarily, his political instincts screaming warnings his rational mind can't articulate.
Chancellor, are you refusing a legal Senate investigation?
Palpatine moves around the desk with fluid grace, his movements carrying predatory precision and entirely unlike his usual careful steps.
The Senate serves at my pleasure, Senator Organa, not the reverse.
With a gesture that seems casual but carries devastating power, Palpatine uses the Force to slam the office doors shut and disable the security cameras with electrical discharge. The investigators find themselves trapped with something far more dangerous than a corrupt politician. One investigator reaches for his communicator, but the device crumples in his hand as invisible force crushes it to fragments. Another tries the door controls. Sparks erupt from the panel. Palpatine's transformation becomes complete. The kind chancellor who guided the Republic through years of crisis disappears, replaced by something ancient and malevolent. His eyes shift to yellow. His posture straightens with terrible confidence.
You wanted to investigate the architect of this republic. Very well. But understand you are investigating Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith.
Red lightning crackles from his fingertips, arcing across the office. Investigators dive behind furniture as the air fills with ozone and screams. Through the office's tall transparisteel windows, Senate security can be seen rushing toward the building as alarms sound across the government district. But they're too far away, too slow to stop what's happening inside. In the Jedi Temple, Mace Windu is leading a training session with senior Padawans when his comlink erupts with urgent alerts. Multiple distress signals from the Senate building, reports of violence, emergency broadcasts cutting across all official channels.
Return to your dormitories immediately. Security Protocol 7.
He sprints through the temple corridors, reaching the council chamber where other masters are already gathering. The holographic display shows chaos at the Senate building, security forces surrounding the Chancellor's office, energy discharges visible through the windows.
Bail Organa's last transmission mentioned the Chancellor refusing the investigation. Then all communication ceased.
If Palpatine has revealed himself, then every suspicion we had was insufficient. We move now.
4 masters ignite their lightsabers. Mace's purple blade, Obi-Wan's blue, Kit Fisto's green, Ajen Kalar's blue. They race through the temple toward waiting speeders when Yoda coordinates defensive positions in case this represents larger Sith conspiracy. Anakin arrives from military briefings as they prepare to depart.
I'm coming with you. No arguments from me, Skywalker. We need every blade.
The 5 Jedi streak through Coruscant's traffic toward the Senate district, their presence in open speeders causing citizens to point and whisper. Jedi moving with such urgency can only mean crisis. They land outside the Senate building, where security forces have established perimeter. Inside, the sound of destruction continues. Crashes, emergency discharges, screams.
Masters, thank the Force. The Chancellor's office. Something's happening up there. We can't get through the doors, and whoever's inside disabled all security systems. We'll handle it. Keep civilians clear.
The Jedi enter the building, moving swiftly but carefully through corridors that have become eerily silent. Citizens and staff have been evacuated, leaving only the distant sounds of violence from the upper levels. As they ascend, the signs of power become visible. Scorch marks on walls, debris scattered across floors, the acrid smell of ozone and fear. They reach the Chancellor's office. The doors are sealed and sparking with electrical discharge. Through the transparisteel panels, they can see shadows moving, flashes of red lightning, furniture in ruins, investigators cowering behind whatever cover there remains. Mace and Obi-Wan don't hesitate. Together they focus on the sealed doors. Metal groans, buckles, then explodes inward with tremendous force. The office beyond resembles a war zone. Elegant furniture lies shattered. Priceless art has been vaporized by lightning. Smoke hangs in the air while emergency systems struggle to clear it all. At the center of the destruction stands Palpatine, or rather, the being that Palpatine truly is. His Senate robes are scorched, hanging open to reveal dark clothing beneath. His face, no longer masked by political charm, carries the yellow-eyed malevolence of the dark side in its purest form. Around him, terrified investigators huddle behind overturned desks. 2 security personnel lie motionless on the floor. Bail Organa bleeds from a scalp wound, his arm wrapped around Mon Mothma protectively. The Sith Lord turns toward the Jedi. His expression shifts from cruel satisfaction to something more complex, anticipation mixed with genuine pleasure.
Master Windu, you arrived precisely when I hoped you would, and you've brought friends. How considerate.
Mace steps through the wreckage, his purple blade humming steadily. Behind him, the other Jedi spread into combat formation, trained coordination honed through years of war.
Your deception ends here, Darth Sidious.
Palpatine's laugh carries no humor, only the satisfaction of someone whose true nature can finally be unleashed.
Deception. I've been exactly what I appeared to be, Master Windu. You simply lack the wisdom to see it. All those conversations we had about the Republic's stability, about preserving civilization. I spoke absolute truth.
His hand extends, a red lightning erupts. Not the wild discharge of moments before, but concentrated destruction aimed directly at the Jedi. Mace moves, his blade intercepts the lightning. Violet energy creating a barrier between the Sith power and Jedi defense. Sparks cascade across the ruined office as dark side fury meets disciplined resistance. But Palpatine isn't focused solely on Mace. His other hand extends toward Ajen Kalar, who advances from the left. Lightning forks, splits, becomes 2 streams of deadly energy. Ajen Kalar's blade rises to intercept. For a moment, he holds the barrier. Then Palpatine's power intensifies, overwhelms. The lightning bypasses the lightsaber's defenses, slams into the Jedi's chest. Kalar convulses. His blade deactivates. He collapses, smoke rising from his robes. 1 down in seconds. Palpatine moves, not running, but exploding into motion, like lightning given form. His lightsaber appears in his hand, crimson blade igniting mid-leap. The ancient Sith combat forms guide his movement, transforming an elderly politician into a deadly weapon. He lands between Kit Fisto and Obi-Wan, his blade spinning in precise arcs that force both Jedi backward. Kit's mastery of Form 1 meets Sidious's brutality. Their blades clash once, twice, 3 times. The sound echoes like thunder across the office, but Sidious isn't fighting one opponent. While his saber engages Kit, his offhand extends toward Obi-Wan. What force push, devastating, unexpected. Obi-Wan flies backwards, slamming into the office's far wall hard enough to crack the paneling. Kit presses his advantage. Blade work flawless, movements fluid as water, but Sidious anticipates, redirects. His crimson blade catches Kit's in a bind, then twists. The leverage is perfect. Kit's lightsaber is forced up, high, leaving his defenses open. Force lightning erupts from Sidious's offhand at point-blank range. Kit Fisto convulses, his Nautolan physiology unable to withstand the onslaught. He falls, smoke trailing from his robes. 2 down. Mace and Anakin are already moving. Years of separate training merge into an intuitive coordination. They attack as one, years of war teaching them combat synchronization. Mace high, Anakin low. Purple and blue blades creating a cage of light around the Sith Lord. Sidious laughs, actually laughs, as he blocks, parries, counters. His single blade moves impossibly fast, meeting both attacks simultaneously. Sparks cascade through the office like meteor showers.
Your speed won't save you, Sidious. Speed? This isn't speed, Master Windu. This is inevitability.
He breaks the pattern, lunges left toward Anakin. The young Jedi barely blocks in time. Blade work pushed to its absolute limit. 3 exchanges. 4. 5. Then Sidious shifts target mid-strike, redirecting toward Mace with fluid precision. But Mace anticipates the feint. His Vapad form channels the dark side aggression, uses it, redirects it. His purple blade meets crimson in a shower of sparks that lights the ruined office like strobe lighting. Obi-Wan rejoins the fight, moving in from the right. His defense is perfect, unbreakable. He doesn't seek to defeat Sidious, only to contain him, to limit his options, to create openings for his companions. The office becomes a battlefield. The 3 Jedi coordinating against one Sith Lord whose power seems inexhaustible. Furniture explodes around them. Windows crack from energy discharge. The floor itself scorches beneath their feet. Sidious drives toward Anakin again, sensing the young Jedi's relative inexperience. His attacks intensify, become brutal, overwhelming. Anakin gives ground, blade work defensive but sound. Mace sees the trap. If Sidious separates them, if he isolates Anakin from support.
Now, Kenobi!
They attack simultaneously from opposite sides. Mace's aggressive assault drives forward while Obi-Wan's defense perfectly closes escape routes. Sidious finds himself caught between 2 masters of their forms. His response is immediate and devastating. He drops his lightsaber, simply releases it, and extends both hands. Force lightning erupts from both palms, twin streams of pure dark side energy seeking separate targets. Mace's blade intercepts one stream. Obi-Wan's blade intercepts the other. They stand their ground, lightsabers creating barriers between dark side fury and Jedi determination. But the lightning isn't the real attack. With both Jedi committed to defense, Sidious uses the Force to recall his fallen weapon. The crimson blade flies through the air, igniting, spinning like a deadly disc toward Obi-Wan's exposed back. Anakin sees it, moves. His blade intercepts the thrown weapon in mid-flight, deflecting it away from his former master. The blades collide with explosive force, sending Sidious's weapon spinning across the room. The lightning ceases as Sidious reassesses. He stands unarmed, 3 Jedi surrounding him, his options suddenly limited. Through the office's shattered windows, more Jedi can be seen approaching, temple security responding to the crisis, time running out for whatever the Sith Lord hoped to accomplish. Palpatine's expression shifts from cruel confidence to something more dangerous, desperate calculation.
Anakin, my boy, these Jedi have come to overthrow the Republic. They want to seize power while the galaxy burns.
Anakin freezes for half a heartbeat. 3 years of trust and guidance, war against recent revelations. His blade wavers slightly.
Help me, Anakin. Together we can save everything you care about. I can teach you power beyond their limitations. Power to protect those you love.
For a moment, the office holds its breath. Mace keeps his blade steady, not daring to speak, knowing the wrong word could push Anakin toward the darkness. But Anakin's mind flashes to the council chamber, to Mace's admission of attachment, to the lesson about letting go.
No.
The single word strikes Palpatine harder than any lightsaber could.
You tried the same manipulation on Master Windu. Used his attachment to the Republic against him. You're trying to use my attachment to you the same way.
He steps forward, positioning himself alongside Mace rather than isolated.
Master Windu taught me something important recently. Some attachments must be severed, not because love is wrong, but because holding on when we should let go leads to darkness.
Palpatine's confident expression crumbles. His last psychological weapon, the trust he'd built with Anakin over the 3 years, proves insufficient against the young Jedi's hard-won wisdom. His rage erupts. Force lightning explodes from his hands in all directions, wild and uncontrolled. The remaining windows shatter. Debris lifts into the air. The very office structure groans under dark side fury. But 3 Jedi working together prove stronger than 1 Sith working alone. Mace advances through the lightning, his vape-pad channeling the dark side energy, using it, turning it back. His purple blade cuts through the chaos with absolute precision. Obi-Wan and Anakin flank him, their blades creating interlocking defenses that protects each other and channels their advance. Sidious's power, immense, terrible, accumulated over decades, meets Jedi determination forged through war and refined through self-examination. The lightning falters, weakens. Sidious stumbles backward, his final defenses crumbling. Mace's blade finds its mark, not with rage or vengeance, but with the calm precision of justice finally severed. The violent energy cuts through the dark side corruption, through decades of deception, through the heart of the Republic manipulation. Palpatine falls. His yellow eyes fade to natural blue, not through redemption, but through the simple end of sustained dark side corruption, masking his true appearance. The lightning ceases. The oppressive presence in the Force dissipates like morning fog. Silence fills the office. The 3 Jedi stand over the body of the galaxy's most dangerous enemy, their breathing heavy, their blades still humming.
It's over.
Behind them, Senate investigators emerge from cover, their expressions showing shock beyond anything their political training prepared them for. Bail Organa stands slowly, helping Mon Mothma to her feet, both staring at the fallen Chancellor with horror, dawning, and comprehension. Through the shattered windows, additional Jedi begin arriving. Temple security floods the building. Senate forces establish new perimeters. The government district erupts in chaos as word spreads. The Chancellor was a Sith Lord, and the Jedi have killed him in defense of the Senate investigators.
Thank you, Master Windu.
Mace turns to him, his expression carrying something unexpected. Respect, humility, and even gratitude.
For what, Skywalker? For showing me the difference between loyalty and attachment. For teaching me that recognizing our own weaknesses is the first step toward overcoming them. For proving that even masters can admit when they're wrong.
Mace places a hand on Anakin's shoulder.
We both learned that lesson. Perhaps that's what saved us all.
Emergency teams arrive to secure the scene and treat casualties. Ajen Kolar and Kit Fisto are rushed to medical facilities, severely injured but alive, their conditions critical but stable. The Senate investigators receive treatment for shock and minor wounds. In the council chambers hours later, the full council gathers to process the implications. Holographic reports detail the evidence found in Palpatine's office, communications revealing his Sith identity, coordination with Separatist leadership, manipulation of the war itself.
Orchestrated everything he did. Both sides of the war. Manipulated all.
The question now is how we move forward. The Senate needs leadership. The Republic needs stability. And we've just killed the Chancellor.
Bail Organa, invited to address the council, stands before them with bandages still fresh on his head.
The Senate is in emergency session. Vice Chair Masamada has assumed temporary authority, but evidence from Palpatine's file suggests he was complicit in various schemes. We're reviewing the entire administrative chain.
The Jedi's actions are being framed as heroic intervention. The recordings and evidence make clear that Palpatine attacked Senate investigators. You responded to defend civilian government against Sith aggression.
And the Separatists? If Palpatine controlled both sides...
We're reaching out through diplomatic channels. Early indications suggest many Separatist leaders are as shocked as we are. Count Dooku's recent death by Anakin's hand removed another Sith influence. There's genuine possibility of peace talks.
The galaxy stands at a crossroads. 3 years of war orchestrated by hidden darkness, institutions compromised by manipulation, trust shattered and slowly rebuilding, but also truth exposed, deception ended, and a chance for genuine peace built on understanding rather than Sith orchestration. The war ends not through Sith orchestration, but through the democratic process guided by the Jedi, who have learned to examine their own motives as carefully as they examine their enemies. Peace talks proceed on Mandalore, with both Republic and Separatist representatives shocked to discover their 3-year conflict served hidden darkness rather than genuine grievances. Master Yoda addresses the full Jedi Council during their first peacetime session in years.
Learned we have. Tested we were. Survived we did. But remember this lesson we must. Vulnerable to manipulation through our own virtues we remain. Vigilant about our own hearts we must be.
The Council agrees to reforms, more transparency in government relations, regular psychological examinations for masters in political roles, renewed emphasis on Jedi independence from partisan politics. Mace takes a temporary leave from the Council, spending time in meditation and teaching younglings, reconnecting with the pure service that first drew him to the Order. When he returns, it is with renewed commitment to balance judgment rather than certain ideology. Anakin continues serving, though with new status earned through his courage in exposing Mace's attachment and his resistance to Palpatine's final temptation. The Council, recognizing his growth and wisdom, grants him the rank of Master, a recognition based not on power or accomplishment, but on demonstrated understanding of the Jedi path's most difficult truths. His marriage to Padme becomes semi-public knowledge, handled not with expulsion but with careful council deliberation about how the Order's rules might adapt to acknowledge human nature while maintaining commitment to service over personal desire. The twins, Luke and Leia, are born healthy in a galaxy choosing peace over war. They grow up knowing both their parents, surrounded by Jedi and senators who understand that strength comes from acknowledging weakness, wisdom from admitting error, and hope from choosing light even when darkness offers easier paths. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you'd like to join us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.